Hey Jeff, it's me, David. Um, I've been thinking a lot since yesterday. Jeff, I've been doing what I do for 33 years. You know, I know how to work a job. I know how to work a budget. I know what I need to do to make money. I'm working in an industry right now that has been hit by COVID, that has a lot of competition. Um, Not making the kind of money that you might be used to making out on $5,000 Scottsdale custom jobs. It's not the It's not the gig I'm in. I'd like to be back in that. I used to be in that. I know how to do those kind of jobs. Right now, I'm in rentals, and I got to get them back on the market. And I got a beef with a couple of things here. I'm going to talk to you about it. You can get all pissed off, and if you want, come get what I owe you and get up the road. I don't care. Okay? I'm not trying to create a schism between us, but what I have to say needs to be said, and you need to hear it. All right? Because I can't continue to work with you the way you're working. I got no problem with your product. You do good paint work. There's no doubt. I think you need to learn to discern, how to do good work faster with maybe a little less detail, attention to detail. I want a good job. There's a middle. It doesn't have to be spend 6 hours on painting one room or do it in an hour and give a bullshit job. There's a middle, okay, where you can get through and get a house ready for rent in a way that is productive and gets it done quickly. Now, I'm going to tell you right now. I told you, hold on a minute. This is my new gig. Quitting smoking. I told you to go get a good paint sample off those walls. I was very specific in my instruction. Told you to get a couple of big ones. I don't care what it takes or who used to fire you for that or whatever. I told you to take a good sample and do not, I said it just like that, do not leave Home Depot without the right match. Instead, you took a ½ inch by 1.5 inch piece, which isn't big enough to test anything, which then led you to buy the wrong paint. This took at least an hour for this endeavor. So that was at least $20 in wages cost to me. Probably took longer than that, actually. Then you had to go back and get what you thought was the right paint, spending at least another hour in wages, another $20 to do that. And you bought a 5-gallon bucket of satin when it was eggshell you needed. And if you had taken the sample I told you to take, you'd have seen it. Okay? That would have ascertained the right paint if you had followed my instruction. So there's another $20 wages. And then you spent $40 or $50 more on the paint that you did buy because you said the Bear Pro didn't come in the eggshell, which is what I needed. So that's another $40, $50, okay, that you spent of my money. And now I have to go buy another batch of paint to paint the downstairs, to fog those walls like I do, because I don't want to paint 20-foot ceilings. I'm not charging them for that. I have to go spend more money on paint when if you had bought the right paint, I could have quickly done what I needed to do with less than a gallon of paint. And if you had followed my instruction on getting the primer coating that bathroom, those bathrooms, you wouldn't have had to waste 3 coats of that paint on those walls. Now, I'm not making a big deal about that. Maybe if you primered, you still would have had to do 2 coats. So it's not that big a deal, but it's the fact that, I tell you to do things and you disregard them. So between the 2 trips to Home Depot, okay, to get the wrong paint, the $40 or $50 extra you spent by buying the wrong paint, and the fact that I have to go back and buy another gallon of paint to do the downstairs, or 2, you wasted $125 of my money. That's it. That's a fact. Okay, that's not a guess. That's a fact. All right, that's real ascertainable mathematics. Okay. Then yesterday, I'm on my way there, and you call me from behind my vehicle because you were on the clock but not working. Okay. You were on a personal errand, and I have no idea how long you were really gone. I'm not trying to call you a liar, but I don't really think, Jeff, you're in the best. I'll just say it this way. Okay. I'm not going to come out and start putting things on video that may or may not be true, but I personally don't think you're operating at your best capacity. And you know what I mean by that. Dude, you're gacked. Okay. So I don't know what you're up to, what you're doing, or what and I know when somebody's in that state of mind, that honesty goes out the window. Okay. It just does. It's a fact. I'm the same way when I use. And I think you're using. If I'm wrong about that, forgive me, but I have reason to think that. I met you when you were sober, and I remember how you were for the first few weeks, and now you're all over the place. I mean, you were in the house yesterday for a half hour talking out loud to yourself, just running around the house, a million miles an hour. So I have no idea how long you were gone. The right thing to do would have been to call me when you left to tell me you were going off the clock. But at the end of the day, you and I both know that had I not found out that you were gone for that 20, 30 minutes, whatever it was you say, you would never have told me about that. You'd never have told me about that. I know you would know. There was no reason. If you were going to tell me about it, you would have already told me about it. Okay. So I have reason to be pissed off about that. Okay. Adding to that, for the entire 2.5 hours I was at that house, the entire 2.5 hours at that house, you were not working at least not working on my job for at least 1 hour of that time. I watched it. I clocked it. Okay. Between your bathroom trips, your smoke, and those weren't 30-second piss trips. The first one was especially long. Okay. All right. That, and then 2 times you were rinsing out rollers and organizing your tools. Then you went back to work for a few minutes after you did that for 15 minutes. Then you came back down to leave, and you spent another 15 minutes on my time cleaning your stuff. You go to any bona fide construction company or paint company, and you take enough rollers and brushes to get through the day. You wrap them up, and you do whatever you have to do to keep them from drying up, keep them fresh, keep them moist. And you grab another roller if you got to go into another color. And you grab another roller if you got to go into another color. I don't really mind you cleaning a paintbrush to use it again, but I myself personally, I take 4 or 5 brushes, 4 or 5 rollers, 4 or 5 roller handles, and I can work through a job without having to stop and fuck around. And basically you've got 20 hours on this job right now. You got 20 hours in to do 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. You're almost at $400 in wages. Dude, I could have rolled those 2 bedrooms out, 2 coats in 2 hours. I don't care if you had nail holes to fill or whatever. And then I would have cut them in an hour. Or 2. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, they're not big rooms. Okay. And so I'm sitting here going, what the fuck, And I'm looking at your wasted time, you're gone, trips to Home Depot. This is where the money's going. And I think you're I don't want to use the wrong word, tweaking too hard on perfection on this job. Really proud of how perfect it looks. And again, I got no qualms with a good job, But I don't need you to spend $700-800 of my money to paint the upstairs of a rental. Okay? With buying the wrong paint, wasting time, wasting out. So here's the deal. I gave you the day off today because, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know if I was going to work anymore. Okay? And there's people over there. I was not lying about that. But here's what I'll do. And you can tell me if you want to take it or leave it. But you're going to finish that job upstairs. I want the upstairs complete. And that baseboard by the landing. You know, all that probably cleaned up. You probably didn't have to pay much baseboard at all. And plus, you got a perfect matching paint. This is why I'm upset that it's taking you this long. You know, you know, and there's just no reason for it. 19 fucking hours at that house, and that's what you got done? Seriously? So here's the deal. You go back there and finish that upstairs. I want that upstairs completely 100% done. You know, and I'll pay you $500, which is about $100 more than I should have had to pay you. Probably a little bit more. I was going to have you doing the work in that house and keep busy. Well, you've wasted all my budget money that I had to paint the upstairs, which isn't a lot of paint. You know, I just went through the list. You know, $135 just for the mistakes on the paint and having to buy the wrong paint and me buying more paint and you having to make trips. And then the time down yesterday you spent probably wasting another $30-40 for my money. That's $150 of the $400 I owe you that has been squandered, dude, just by you. So again, I'm going to go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll go ahead and let you finish this job, but we're going to do things differently in the future, or you can go work somewhere else. You know, I got guys that'll paint. I can paint. I'll take my electric roller over at that house. I could have done it myself with that electric roller without having to stop and dip. I could have done those 2 bedrooms and the master bedroom in an hour. 1 hour. You know, and here I'm giving you $500. You know, so I expect something in the middle. You know, I know you're used to making good money, and you know what? If you have jobs that you can pull that kind of money on, go get it. You're probably worth every penny of it. Again, I don't doubt your worth, and I've said that 3 times. But that's not the demographic you're working in when you're working on my houses. So once in a while, I have some custom paint jobs. In fact, I got a guy in Omaha who read my Better Business Bureau review. He wants to paint his inside of his house in 2 weeks. I was going to ask you to help me with that. He said, Dave, your reviews are so good that I'll pay you anything you want within reason. Come paint my house. That's the kind of job I can set you loose on, and you can do that kind of detail work. And there'll be money in the budget where you can, you know, take your time, do that kind of work, still be diligent, but take a little longer, make a little more money. That's fine. This isn't one of those houses. I told you that before you started. So I'm done talking to you about it. I've said what I had to say. Do what you want with it. You give me a text message tonight, tomorrow morning, whatever. If you don't want to finish, I'll have George go over there and finish. I don't care. I'll pay you out what I owe you. Okay? Which I really, you know, shouldn't even do because you did waste a lot of my money, dude. I laid it out for you. You know, you wasted a lot of my money, you know, on bullshit because you didn't follow my instructions. So anyway, all right. I love you. You're a brother in Christ. I ain't mad at you. I don't want to create a schism. I hope we can work through this. I do. I hope we can work through this and stay friends and stay co-workers. That's up to you. You know, if you can receive a modest exhortation, which I'm giving you, it's not a rebuke, but it is an admonition. It is an exhortation. And I'm telling you, I'm not pleased. So do something about it. All right? I'll talk to you later.